Wave to the camera, dog. Good job, man. Good lick. What's up, guys? Want to throw together a quick video for you real quick so that I can explain Christian my diet right about now. We are 45 days out as of today from our first physique comp, so a little over 6 weeks. We are about 6 weeks into our cut, so I just wanted to break down what exactly our diet is right about now. Since we're making dietary change today, we're going to cut out beef and throw turkey back into the mix. So I'm just going to explain real quick exactly how our diet is, what we're eating every day, what we're doing in between, what we do for snacks if you get hungry, and how our refeed days and cheat meals work and how many we have. So being 6 weeks into our cut right now, we're getting a lot closer. Dog, stop licking me, man. I love you too. A little over 6 weeks out, so that means that we're starting to get pretty close. We really need to start shredding that last inch of body fat that we have. I'd say we're probably down to about 8 or 9% a piece right now. Usually for a competition, you're trying to get down to about more like 6 or 5%. This being our first physique comp, I'd say 6 is probably going to be acceptable enough to do it for amateur competition. But when you're really competing and you're getting up there, you want to be more like 5 or 4, which is pretty absurd, but it's what you got to do. That being said, the way that our macros are broken down right now, obviously for one, trying to burn fat, lose weight, we're in a caloric deficit. We're hitting cardio every day, high intensity interval training most of the time, but sometimes we'll throw in some fasted steady state cardio. It helps burn fat faster because it's your primary source of fuel. Since your muscles don't have any glycogen stores from the food that you've eaten that day, glycogen is usually your muscle's primary energy store. That's why fasted cardio works that way. The interval training that we do is so that we can get our heart rates up high enough to get into an anaerobic state so that you can start burning fat as fuel instead. That would be your body's primary source. Once you get into that target heart rate state, which for us, we're both about 200 pounds, about the same size, same height. It's usually between 150 and 170. So usually we're trying to get into about 160 for a good amount of our cardio. Today we did the elliptical, 30 seconds on, 10 seconds off for about 20 minutes. So what you're trying to get is at least up between 150 and 165 for a good amount of that when you're in the sprint, so the 30-second sprint. And then you're trying to give yourself a little break, catch your breath a bit during the 10 seconds where you're just kind of walking on it. So, getting a little off track, but so we're starting in a caloric deficit, of course, so that you can burn fat and that we can lose weight that way. But at the same time, we're trying to maintain as much lean muscle mass as possible. So what we're doing is 1.5 grams per pound of body weight for protein a day, 2 grams of carbs per pound of body weight, and about 50 to 70 grams of fat. That just works for us. Your fat can vary a little bit more. Usually I would lean towards the lower side of it though, but it depends when you eat it. Fat is best if you eat it in the morning because that way your body can use it as fuel throughout the day. Fat digests pretty slowly. And our carbs will be starting to shrink down more and more the closer that we get to the competition. Dog, chill. Like I said, your carbs are what are primarily going to go to your muscles as fuel. So when you have, say, 2 grams of carbs, dog, seriously, all right, this man's licking me too much. I'm throwing him on my bed. Chill. Sorry about that. So what was I saying? Carbs are your primary use of fuel. So if you eat carbs, say like rice, sweet potatoes, whatever you're eating in your diet, that's what your primary source of fuel is going to be, but you want your body to be burning fat instead when you're trying to burn body fat so that you can slim down. Obviously, that's what we're trying to do. So the closer that we get to the competition, the harder it is for us to burn the last little bit of fat that we have. We're going to probably start doing start of the week, post refeed day, like 2 grams of carbs, and then we're going to slowly move down to 1.7, 1.5, 1.25, 1, and then less than our body weight in carbs to the point where we're probably just eating around 40 or 50 a day the day before our refeed. That's to try and really just burn as much fat as possible. It's what you got to do once you start to shred down really slim, because the last bit of fat is the hardest part to burn. So we're not doing that right now. Right now our macros are sitting at around 300 grams of protein a day, about 400 carbs, 300 to 400 depending on the day. We vary it a little bit. And then about 50 to 70 grams of fat. So what we're doing is we're eating 5 times a day. Our first meal of the day, we have about 5 egg whites and 2 eggs. That's what I have. Christian has, I think, 8 egg whites. And then a cup of oats, which is the majority of our carbs for the day. And then 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So the peanut butter that we have is just peanuts. It's got nothing else in it. It's healthier, it's better for you, it doesn't taste as good, but deal with it. And then we have that. It's probably our most filling meal throughout the day, and then your body can digest the fat slowly throughout the day as an energy source, and you get the majority of your carbs, which you will then burn off throughout the day because you had them in your first meal. Our second meal is usually our post-workout. We have it right after we work out. That's just a protein shake, which is usually between 40 and 50 grams of protein, depending on what kind of protein we're on at the time. And then a banana and some peanut butter again. Just 1 tablespoon of peanut butter this time. Bananas are a great source of energy depending on when you eat them. You don't want to eat them right before bed usually because they do have a lot of natural sugars in them, but they also are a really good source of energy for pre or post workout to like refuel your muscles. So third meal that we have is, it'll vary between beef or chicken or tuna. Those are the 3 proteins that we're on right now. So we'll do 8 ounces of chicken, usually 1 cup of rice, and then a cup of mixed vegetables. Really get the vitamins and nutrients that you need. We usually do cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, but a lot of people I know really like asparagus. We just don't like to cook asparagus. It's kind of annoying. So that's our third meal. Fourth meal then would be 8 ounces of beef, another cup of vegetables, can be a cup and a half this time, and maybe some almonds or another tablespoon of peanut butter. And then our last meal is going to be 8 ounces of tuna, usually a tablespoon of mayonnaise, just because tuna by itself is disgusting. Canned tuna and water, by the way, not in oil. And then another cup of vegetables, and then we usually go to bed right after we eat that. So I think it breaks down to about 23 or 2,400 calories throughout the day, which is pretty low deficit considering that we're pretty active people. But it's been working for us, so this is what we've been staying with. The change that I was talking about earlier is that we're cutting beef out of our diet today. So we're about to actually go grocery shopping as soon as Christian gets back from work, and we are going to switch out our beef for turkey. So beef is pretty high in fat. Usually when we're eating beef, it's at least 93% lean. You gotta look for that when you're looking on the label. But it's still pretty high in fat, and it's not as good for cutting as turkey is. Turkey is just a leaner meat. It digests better, but it's also kind of gross in comparison to beef. I love beef. I don't love turkey, but we're gonna have to deal with it. So the only change we're really gonna be making is switching it up to ground turkey instead of ground beef, and we will probably stick with chicken and tuna aside from that. Might start to work in some sweet potatoes instead of jasmine rice into our diet just to see how our bodies respond to it. A huge part of prep for a comp, or really prep for anything, whatever you're trying to do with your diet, is understanding how your body absorbs certain foods. Some people are going to do a lot better with some foods than others. Some people need to eat more fruits and vegetables. Some people need to eat more plant-based protein than animal-based protein. Some people do better with brown rice than white rice. You just need to figure yourself out and figure out how you do with whatever food. All the foods that we're on right now, I know that we're totally fine with, but maybe sweet potato is going to help us fill out a little more and shred some body fat. Maybe it'll help us feel more energetic throughout the day. You just don't really know until you try. So we had sweet potato in our plan like 3 weeks ago. Then we cut it out just to stick to rice for a while because we have a 25-pound bag of rice we got from Costco. Major shout out Costco. But now we're switching it back. Try some sweet potatoes again, just mix up our diet. So that's where we're at right now. I'll keep you guys updated on that. We are probably going to stick around the same diet and the same foods for the next 6 weeks, but we will be cutting our carbs like I was saying earlier. But I'll make another video and post about that to update you guys when we decide to start cutting carbs. Last thing, we have 1 cheat meal a week. Usually we have it on the weekend, like Saturday or Sunday. We use that as our refeed day for carbs to bulk back up, get bigger again. So we go 6 or 7 days of eating clean, and then we have our cheat meal. Aries, stop licking me, man. Usually our cheat meal, we just, whatever it is, we make sure it's high in carbs. By then, you're just craving carbs no matter what, so it's really easy to eat a ton of food. we've had 5,000 calorie a piece cheat meals before. They've been great. It's not the ideal way to go about things. Refeeds are much better, and once we get down to 4 weeks, we're gonna have our last cheat meal, and then we're gonna just do refeed days. The difference is cheat meals, you usually eat a bunch of unhealthy food like chicken nuggets and burgers and shit like that. Whereas when you get down to refeed days, it's the same healthy food, you just have a lot more carbs. So basically it'd be slightly less protein, slightly less fat, and then just a ton of carbs, sorry. So a ton of sweet potato, a ton of rice. That's probably what we're gonna be doing come 4 weeks out. It's just a month, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So that's our plan. I'm going to keep you guys posted, but I just want to make this video to kind of let you guys know where we're at right now with our diet. Still working out 7 days a week, so let's get it.